So what am I going to look at next? I've got a few things possibly to look at. Some interesting beta stuff going on here. Oh, what's that? 500 ME multi-standard. It's actually got a bad front-loading system, so we might have a look at that in a future video. Black C9. It's C9ES. So yeah, and then we've got some modern VHS stuff, and 3V something 22, I think that is, deluxe. A couple of V2000 machines with dodgy boards. 800 ME, my favourite machine. Love those. One of my favourites. So we got 700 ME. My Parts Toshiba V8 600. Very nice. And here we've got, you can't quite see that. We've got 1502 N1502 and a 1700 N1700. We've got some Sony old top-loading betas. So we've got two C5s and a C7. And I think I'm going to finish the video on the C7 because I've got that thing, which is the multi-tape loader, but it's got a fault. So I've got a manual coming. As you can see, it's been in the damp at some point, and although it was a sealed box when I got it, never been used. I think damp has got to it, and it's not happy. It's not been in water, but it's not happy. So yeah, I think that could be fun. So that'll be in another video. So I think I'm going to have a look at these two C5s. See what we can do with those. Some other interesting stuff here. So i8 machine, and top of the range Jobby, and top of the range Panasonic Super VHS, very nice. And of course the lovely HF950, which needs diodes changed. This is the machine that has problems with the modifications that Sony fitted. Use the black double-sided foam sticky tabs, and the black ones especially go to tar and start rotting the legs and soaking into the components. So again, I might do that in another video. I'm not feeling like it tonight. It's just one of those things, isn't it? So yeah, I think we're going to stick with the C5s. Dug out the two C5s, and as I've dug them out, I'm sort of recollecting what was actually wrong with these machines. So this one I actually bought off my mate Chris a few years ago now. It must be 5 years ago. Maybe more. Time flies. And this one actually has pretty much every stock fault. If you read down the list on palsite.com of the technical side of the listing for this machine, pretty much this has every fault, I seem to remember. So that'll actually be quite a cool one to do, I think, because we can actually reference that against the PAL site, and I can actually show you what the actual written faults are actually in the machine, so we can just sort of cross-reference. That'd be quite nice, actually. This one, it's very tatty. That wasn't the door that came with it, to be honest. That was on another C9. C7. Actually, that's off a C7. I think. And it was broken, so I swapped it over. Although, I don't know. It just looks as if it might be attached. I don't know. I just seem to recollect swapping it over. Missing a flap. Now, I seem to remember this actually does work. It's fully working. Other than every single belt, every piece of rubber in there is pretty much shot. So, yeah, am I going to do it? Yeah, I probably will, to be honest. It's quite a tatty machine as well, which is a shame. I mean, whether it will clean up, I don't know. Probably not. But and obviously it is missing that flap, which is a bit of a shame, but I might be able to sort something out. This is really odd, because it's got marks all over. It's almost like oil has got to it somehow. I mean, I suppose you could argue that's from wear and tear, fingers, whatever. But this here, this is all very odd. So I don't know. It's never going to be a showstopper, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to do. It's also quite worn on the top there. I just wonder where this has been. In a loft, I believe. A number of years. Under here is really, really tidy, but it's got the usual problem that all the buttons, pretty much, yeah, all the buttons, I say pretty much, it is all the buttons, are, I've had it. They're just no good. So we'll change these over and I'll show you the buttons that I use, the switches that I use, and there's a hair, and we'll get those swapped over. Now, the thing I like about the C5 is, even though it's not a remote machine, which is really nice, the C7 has the remote, great, super. The power supplies are a lot simpler on these. They use a much simpler power supply arrangement, which uses a transformer and rectifiers. C7 uses a actually very good switch mode power supply. For the time, it's an excellent power supply, and I see why they did it. It offers more refinement. It just works better, better regulation, handles current better, and changes in current better. But there are two capacitors in the primary side of the switch mode power supply. If they leak, then it's kaboom, and you know it breaks transistors and components, and it's a mess. Luckily, I've never got that far because I always change them. As soon as I get one of these in, it's the first thing I do is change those capacitors, and they are always leaky, and there's always a lot of leakage as well. Once they short across, that's it. So yeah, so I do quite like these. Good, solid, reliable machines, relatively, for their age. So what we'll do is we'll power it up and see what happens, I suppose. My memory's not serving me so well. I've just noticed that one, that's missing, and two, there is no power button. So, I don't know what I've done there. I've obviously robbed it for parts, so I don't know what I've done. So I think the next thing is to just whip the covers off. I'm not going to power it up. I dread to think what I've done in there. Well, the covers are off, and another one of the buttons fell off. They actually use like a little, well, see here, this spring that goes on the shaft there as it pokes through that hole, and then it's all held in place by this clip. Yeah, I seem to remember there was the switchy bits actually floating about, and I wasn't sure where it had come from, and obviously that's where it's come from. I don't know where it is now, but my decision is to make one out of two. If I make one relatively tidy machine, I'll be really happy, to be fair. So yeah, this one has seen life. This is the one I'd like to get going, just because it is my mate's X machine. Yeah, I don't know, it just seems nice just to keep it sort of as fully original as possible, and repair the faults with it. You can see there the front panel there is actually exactly the same as in the C7, except the C7 had all of this populated, so beepy things and nice fun things and trick mode-y things and extra buttony things would happen. Lots of technical terms there. So let's see. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of work, this, isn't it? What's happened with this power button? And I don't know. Has it fallen through? Oh, the thing's missing off the end of it, the actual button. Wonder if that'll do it. Ooh, it's a bit grubby, isn't it? So, I wonder if that's going to do it. Well, better than before. Oh, yeah, I don't think throwing it at the front's going to necessarily sort it. Oh, so there we go, that is actually okay. These switches can be problematic. Sometimes they don't latch properly, but sometimes the actual internal mechanism, it's a bit like the Sony TVs of the time, the actual sprung mechanism, because they flick the contacts really hard with the spring, although I don't think this is quite the same as the TV. This feels like just bog standard TV stuff. But yeah, on the Sony TVs, they would use really strong springs to really thwack the contacts together so you didn't get an arc, just so they didn't spot weld themselves to each other. But as they got older, obviously they did. And more often than not, they actually would blow enough away to make them open circuit. So yeah, I don't know whether that's sort of interesting, but anyway, thinking aloud. So yeah, so let's try and power this up and just see what happens. So here goes. I have put it on the Variac, but I've not really. I'm just going to whack full voltage through it because I seem to remember this was actually okay. But yeah, I can also turn it off really quickly if it does go bang. Danger, danger. High voltage. Yeah. Panic, panic, panic. My clock is not set. Yeah, so that's all good. Well, that doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, that does. Now, ooh, yeah. That probably is not flickering nearly as much as it actually is. Let's see if these buttons will do anything. Nah. I believe you can sort of free them off sometimes. But no, just replace them. Oh, look at that. That's proper classic classy stuff, that. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my my sort of I don't care if it gets damaged tape, and we'll give it a go. I am pretty confident this is going to end up bad. But anyway, the loading belt doesn't seem too bad. Tyres are good. That's good. Let's give those a clean. I'll change the belts. Cool. Big question is rewind. Always good fun. This is not a wonderful tape. This tape struggles to wind right the way back, even in the best of machines. So this is actually going very, very well. Maybe. There we go, it's slowing down. Yeah, that's I guess that's probably more to do with the belt than it is to do with the idler. But anyway, we'll see. Yeah, let's not commit. So I suppose the next thing is to see if we get a picture out of it. It must be easy 5 years since I last had this turned on, and I seem to remember there were all sorts of problems with phase lock loop. Yeah, caps down and heads, I seem to remember. Anyway, let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to do this the pro way, with the machine still on the floor, because I've got B2000 there and the HF 950 there, and my PC is doing an update. Broken graphics at the moment, hey-ho. So yeah, you can hear the lovely sound of snow. Yeah, cool. So let's press, where's play? Let's play. I don't seem to have much in the LED department going on here. Yeah. That doesn't look good. Well, I have some sound in it. We can't quite make that out, but there is sound, so that's a start. Picture-wise, with a little bit of, I mean, it does look like seriously contaminated. Oh, I almost got a picture then. Tracking. It's tracking up the one end, bottom end. Doesn't seem to make much difference. The other thing I noticed was the heads were. The head motor was hunting about a bit at first. And yeah, I can still hear a little bit of roughness going on there. This machine isn't quite as tidy as I remember it. Yeah. So I think the next thing, really, I'm actually really impressed how well it's doing. Let's check the tape, which it's managed to do without leaving a loop. Let's have a look at what's going on here. Let's give it a bit of extra light. Well, it's not clean. I don't know why I thought I didn't actually clean it before I put it to one side, but I haven't. Like I said, tape's sacrificial anyway. I didn't care about the tape. So I've just pulled obviously a load of rubbish onto the tape. So I think the next thing is to give this a bit of a clean, and I will probably give it a clean and let it soak a bit. I won't clean the isopropyl off, leave it as long as I can, and then I'll give it another clean, just give it a standard clean, and see if that does a trick. So giving it a quick clean, and it's sort of working. I now have a picture. It's black and white, and you can see the head motors jittering, something chronic, and also the capstan is running a little bit fast. So yeah, so we've got a couple of servo problems there. These are common problems on these machines, and so we'll have a look and drop the bottom board, because I seem to remember it's on the bottom board. It could be totally wrong. I remember doing quite a lot of C6s with this problem, and that was on the bottom board, so I'm going to assume this is the same, because, well, why not? So yeah, we'll have a look at that. After I recorded the last segment, I sort of got to really thinking about which way is the best way forward. I am noticing quite a few issues with this machine. Not least, it looks to have been in quite a smoky environment, which means it's never really going to be that great. There's so much wrong with it as well, and I do have this machine, which, although it's got higher hours on it, does work. I seem to remember this does work, except it does need a service. It needs a deck service, and obviously these buttons need sorting out as well, and I'm sure there'll be other bits and pieces with it, but I just think, you know, when you look at it and compare that with that, it's just so much cleaner. It's just ultimately a lot cleaner than the other machine. So I think I'm going to go with this one, and use this one for parts as required. It does make sense to me not to faff about with this one, when ultimately, even when it's fully working, it's probably not going to be that reliable and probably not going to be that good. So I think that's going to be the way forward. So what I'll do is I'll stop this video now, and we'll get to work. I'll collect together all the bits and pieces, get to work on this machine, and document that in another video. So it's a little bit of a disappointment. I always feel a bit sad when I'm writing off a machine that's pretty much complete, especially as they are getting fewer and fewer. But just got to be sensible about it, really. It's just no good if a machine is going to be just hideously unreliable. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in another video.